Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of my How to Program for Max Strength series. If you watch the first 2 parts of the series, you may have a better understanding of how to program a single movement over the course of a mesocycle and series of mesocycles, which will eventually result in a macrocycle. So what I want to teach you guys today is how to create your weekly plan, or what's called a microcycle. Within a microcycle, you have all of your given exercises or movements for the week. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to say that there's so much different nuance and variables that can be placed in your program, but I think the most important variable is improvement. Something that I learned early on from master strength coaches at multiple different universities is whatever science or structure you decide to use, be ready to back it up, run it yourself, and strive to perfect it. When creating your microcycle, you first need to think about priority. The movements in your workouts should be ordered in the following way: speed, power, strength, and then fitness. Speed work is less applicable in this format because when I learned this, it literally meant maximum running velocity. So the in-weight room training priority for this example will start with power. These are your jumps, throws, Olympic or classic lifts, and especially dynamic effort, bench, squats, deads, and their variants. After that is strength. Now, when improving your maximum strength, this section will be your bread and butter section. This will consist of your percentage-based squats, pulls, and presses for the most part. You'll notice that power and strength work are in varying places on the force velocity curve. It's important to understand that when your goal is to improve your pure maximum strength, the barbell will not move with high velocity. After the strength portion, you have fitness. In the sports performance world, this is your conditioning or circuit training, basically anything where sets and reps are less important and the focus is to condition. In most barbell sports or gyms, we would just call this section accessory work. The accessory portion of your workout may or may not have percentages depending on your goals. The next important bit is understanding how to overload accessories. And this is where it starts to get kind of fun because you can be very creative in this process. Most people look at overload through the simple yet very effective lens of increasing overall volume or load over time. For instance, if in week 1 you programmed 3 sets of 8 RDLs, week 2, you can just program 3 sets of 10 RDLs, or say you lifted 100 kilograms for week 1, you could keep the same volume in 3 sets of 8 and lift 105 kilograms the next. A version of overload that is very effective and in my opinion underutilized is rest interval manipulation. Now let's say we had the same volume as week 1, 3 sets of 8 RDLs, but this time you would do a set every 2 minutes for 6 minutes. Then in week 2, you do the exact same volume and the exact same weight. However, you do a set every 1 minute and 30 seconds for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And this result has the same volume, however, the intensity created is greater because of the lack of rest. Now that we understand those 2 concepts, I want to show you guys what I do to create my own microcycle. I like to train on a 5-day-a-week split. Each individual training session uses the priority of power, strength, then accessory. Now, as I fill out my program in super speed, I want to share with you guys 2 very critical guidelines when selecting movements. First, know your weaknesses. I have never stood up a max clean with confidence, and I know full well that I need to squat more. Secondly, allow yourselves at least 48 hours minimum to recover from maximum strength work. You may be thinking, Zach, you're literally squatting 4 times a week. And yes, that is what is listed. However, I only intend to make 2 of those sessions maximum strength work. The other 2 are more dynamic/recovery-based work, very similar to the concurrent or conjugate approach. For my max strength cycle, I will mark in red my maximum effort work. As I move closer to competition, this will surely change as to up the intensity of my snatch and clean and jerk work. Now, when I fill in the accessory portion of my program, I like to think of it as a checklist. And your checklist may be different than mine, however, this is the one that I like to use. I like to accomplish a horizontal push and pull, a vertical push and pull, post-chain development, and direct core work. This is the great part about all of this. Once you have developed your template, you can literally keep your microcycle structure the same over the course of an entire macro cycle. All you would need to alter is the specific exercises in the accessory work, or vary the tempo of a movement once or twice every mesocycle. Now, it's important to understand the fundamental purpose of periodization, and that is moving from general to specific. If my goal is to increase my snatch and clean and jerk, maximum strength does play a part in this. My maximum strength work intensity outweighs the intensity of my specific work to the snatch or clean and jerk. Even though I'm going to keep the same template, the intensity can switch. I can now move the intensity up to my clean and jerk and snatch work, and I can take it down on my strength work or accessory work. This brings us back to the point I brought up earlier, that you always have to be tweaking, modifying, and improving your program.